So on Behind the Tracks tonight, we're going to be looking at an artist and a specific song that kind of sums up the New Brunswick rock blues aesthetic by a guy born in the beautiful city of Moncton who has become a household name in our part of Eastern Canada, but in the States. The best thing you would say of Bob Seger's mother was from New Brunswick, and his father was from Cape Breton or Nova Scotia. It would be this guy, Matt Minglewood. Now, Matt Minglewood, again, was born in Moncton, but later relocated to North City, Nova Scotia with his family. He later moved to nearby Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, where he resides again in the present day. Now, he was in several bands before he created probably one of the most important bands in maritime history, the Minglewood Band, 78-74, a band which toured Canada extensively and achieved a measure of success. It was once said he had 1 foot in rock and roll, 1 foot in R&B, and 1 foot in country. But what really summed up a lot of people, especially my part of Northern New Brunswick, was the amount of crimes that were committed by people in our region, especially by those from West Lorne, which is part of Lorne, New Brunswick. It's the song Dorchester. Now, for the 5 people out there that don't know what Dorchester refers to, it's not the community, it's the prison. It's a well-known fact, some of the worst prisoners, criminals in New Brunswick and sometimes Nova Scotia history, would do long terms in Dorchester. Now, my family, various members of my family served time there. Some of them served time with Junior Marshall, or Donald Marshall, for a crime he didn't commit, was the murder of Sandy Seal. Now, Dorchester is a very, very hard rocker. I would suspect, like I said, it wouldn't be out of date with somebody from the Eagles or John Fogerty would take the song. So we're going over the lyrics, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the aesthetic of the song. Now, it's not told from the perspective of the prisoner. It's told by the perspective of the prisoner's wife or paramour. Now, it goes like this. Somewhere in the dark in a town beneath the border, there's a woman who cries in the night. She has been a loner ever since he's known her, but she keeps her loneliness out of sight. Now, on Northern New Brunswick, when we heard that, he used the word loner, but he said a loner, which is kind of a paraphrase for Lorne, the community, or Lorner. Now, again, somewhere on the coast near the Bay of Fundy, there's a place called Dorchester Town, and a cell in the block on the walls of the prison, there's a man on a reel come down. Now, it tells a story of how the unlucky couple, got together. They had got together a long, long time ago. Their love burned right from the start. Buddy was an outlaw, though he tried to change. He just kept breaking her heart. I don't know how it started, but I do know how it ended. And it ended up the way it is now. He's doing 20 years in a Dorchester prison. She's doing 20 years somehow. Now, what Matt Minglewood is imparting in this song is not say from personal experience, but, a lot of people would travel to Dorchester, girlfriends or wives and sometimes gay lovers, all the way to Dorchester to visit their man in prison. And it was a real come down to see their man behind bars. Now, if you look at the Donald Marshall CBC telefilm, it kind of talks about it a little bit, where in the real life Donald Marshall Sr., there's a scene where he's visiting Junior in jail. The chorus is quite interesting, and it harkens back to kind of a Margie Robbins. If he ever pulled a gun, he'd never end up on the run. If she never listened to her heart, why did she listen to her heart? Somehow the years have passed, and 2 more hours he'll be free at last. He'll walk past that wall. 60 miles down the road, she's driving north with a heavy load. She's not sure at all. Has he really changed his ways, or will he only count the days till the teardrops fall? Will he end up on the run, his only friend, a cold gun, when he hears the outlaw call? So, we always talk about prisoners not willing to change their ways, and most of them end up in Dorchester prison. I tell you, with my personal experience, the 3-strike rule would be like this. If you appeared in front of a judge that was willing to give you a long sentence, if you appeared in front of him the 3rd time, you would end up in Dorchester. And there was Dorchester, not say as bad as Spring Hill, not as bad as Kingston Pen, but Dorchester, again, through the years, is known to take young children, really, late teens, early 20s, and destroy them because of the overall, lack of respect aspect of the prison. From 1970 to 1980, some of the worst prisoners from Nova Scotia and New Brunswick were in that institution. And like I said, there was no glory to serve time in Dorchester prison. It was, isolated, not really a very warm part of New Brunswick. Again, kind of off the beaten track. The people in Dorchester, some nice people down there, but they've been labeled with that rush for years and years. That if you serve time in Dorchester, how it worked back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, the 70s and 80s. If you served time in Dorchester, good luck trying to get a job. You're automatically frozen out. Now, talking about Matt Minglewood, last I saw him in concert was at the Belloon Arena, early 2000s. I had seen him, 20 years before, playing on top of rostrum at JR's restaurant in Woodstock, New Brunswick, and that he's 78 now, but the same, energy that he brought to his early years in the Matt Minglewood band, he always did. Now, he's been active singer now for 60 years, currently on Savannah Records. Now, he did launch a solo career in the mid-80s, early 90s. He was also part of an annual seasonal troupe called the Cape Breton Summertime Review. And his other key hit for me, he's probably second best song besides Dorchester. Well, Can't You See is strong too, is You Ain't Been Drinking Enough, the cover of a Don Henley song. He's got that kind of twangy, you look at Steve Earle, you look at Rodney Crowell, you look at like the black artist R&B. He is basically just like Lenny Gallant. He's one of the pillars of what they call the maritime folk pop rock genre. Now, maybe you're the first time hearing Matt Minglewood. Maybe it's you're a big fan. But for those who've never heard Matt Minglewood, I want to try give you a thing. Go on YouTube and see some of the concerts or his original songs for the Matt Minglewood band. And I don't know if somebody can back this up. I think Dorchester was banned on certain radio stations back in the day because if you heard the song playing the radio within the prison, it would cause some issues because you were allowed to listen to radio back then. But at the time, ladies and gentlemen, the Maritimes, this type of artist was very rare, especially New Brunswick, the Nova Scotia emerged. Now, I'd like to see a tribute album to Matt Minglewood down the road by different Canadian artists. I know that his solo events, again, you know what you're going to get. He's, like I said, a very strong performer. And I think he was late at the Belden Arena. I took his picture on stage 2 o'clock in the morning. One of the latest assignments I ever had. And the crazy question was, there was a guy from Lorne asked me, was that a picture of Matt Minglewood? I said, yeah, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And I remember a guy from Lorne offered him a drink before he went on stage. He just took it sort of like a U2 type thing. So Matt Minglewood, I think his best song is Dorchester. If you're a big fan of Minglewood, let us know what you think. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. And this was a CanCon version of Behind the Tracks, which we do on occasion. Have a good one. Bye.